A Colorado sheriff says he has been forced to release a potentially dangerous man to the public because of a recently passed state law. 21-year-old Debisa Ephraim had faced charges of attempted second-degree murder and assault. He was being held at the Weld County Jail until last week. The sheriff's office released this video, though, and it says it shows Ephraim in a fist fight. The sheriff says that he had to release him because of a law passed in 2024 designed to keep people from being incarcerated if they are deemed incompetent to stand trial. It instead intends to provide them with mental health care.
A sheriff in northern Colorado issues a warning to the public that a very dangerous individual is being released back on the streets. Welcome to another installment of the Connecticut Gun Bench. Today's video is brought to you by P.A.N. Firearms, LLC. P.A.N. Firearms, your NRA certification of multifaceted gun training. You can reach us at 203-300-6343 or use our website at www.panfirearmsllc.com. As always, there'll be a link in the description box below. If you like channel, like content, what I do here, you can support me with the link. Everything's appreciated. Online store is open. CGB20 will get you 20% off. Free shipping. Connecticut residents, you got to pay that sales tax. Can't help that. CGB20 gets you 20% off. Take advantage. Let's talk about this. And if you have indulged in my videos throughout the years, I keep talking about the actual problem. I always keep saying that we're ignoring the real issue. And this story that I came across is a perfect example of a justice system, specifically in blue, progressive, Democrat-run states and cities that are soft on crime and seem to have more for the criminal than they do for the victim. This story is a real fucking doozy. Excuse my French, but this is unbelievable. Colorado, they picked up a person who had been involved in two unprovoked fights that he started, he instigated, and what happened was he would win the fight, technically. He would hit the person and knock them out. But while they were laying on the ground, knocked out, he would mercilessly pummel them in the face. He got arrested. They put him in the jail. And because of a Colorado law that was signed in 2024, they deemed him incompetent to stand trial. So they could not basically hold him in jail anymore and had to release him back into the public, which of course led to the sheriff putting out that warning to the public that this guy's out. Let me go ahead and give you some details.
At 6 tonight, we're learning more about an inmate who's been released in Weld County.
The sheriff's office is warning this person could be a danger to the community. 21-year-old Debisa Ephraim has been released from jail because he was ruled mentally incompetent to stand trial. He was initially arrested on suspicion of attempt to commit second-degree murder and assault.
And the sheriff says he feels he has been placed in handcuffs himself in this situation. He blames state lawmakers for creating a law which allows some violent criminals to then fall through the cracks of the system. Sheriff Reams says that is exactly what happened today when he released an inmate into the community, an inmate who he says is a dangerous threat to others.
It's a very violent crime, and how rapidly this person has accumulated contacts with law enforcement, it's concerning.
Weld County Sheriff Steve Reams is warning his residents of a man he released from jail, not by his own choosing, but because the suspect was ruled incompetent to stand trial.
With that ruling, we're forced to release that individual.
That individual is Debisa Ephraim, a 21-year-old who Reams says is seen in these videos fighting northern Coloradans. The videos, too graphic to be shown in full, show men being knocked unconscious and then continuously punched in the face while lying on the ground.
He's a very dangerous person, and his actions, from what we can tell, were unprovoked.
So why did he walk free without ever seeing a jury? Reams says it's the result of House Bill 1034, signed into law last year by Governor Jared Polis. The law, at its core, said those found incompetent to stand trial should be sent to mental health care instead of incarceration. But that is contingent on the suspect qualifying for that care, which Ephraim did not, Reams says. So Monday morning, he walked free from charges like attempted murder and the cell that he lived in for the last 5 months.
This or the case that happened in Aurora with Solomon Galligan, those both are very giant highlights to the mistake that was made. It needs to be corrected. Someone's going to get hurt and someone's going to get hurt bad. All I can do at this point is make them aware that this person is out and about and pray that he doesn't re-enter those criminal actions. But quite honestly, without some legislative changes, I don't know how you address this concern.
Heard that and you saw that. This is infuriating. This is not a gun problem. It is not. This person took two people and beat them mercilessly. A fight that he instigated, a fight that he provoked. And these people, for all intentional purposes, are defending themselves. He knocks them out and then beats them while they're on the ground, to the point where bystanders jump in, grab him, and have to end the whole confrontation. They pick him up, and now they're going to have to let him go because of a bill that was signed into law by a Democrat governor. Once again, same Democrat governor that seems to think that you, as a private citizen in Colorado, owning certain firearms is somehow a danger to the public, signs a law allowing people like this to wander the streets. Now here comes the kicker.
Reams described this situation as a get out of jail free card, noting that Ephraim is a refugee here in America from Tanzania. He says even with the graphic videos of those alleged crimes, he couldn't refer those over to federal authorities in order to try and seek deportation because technically the suspect was never found innocent or guilty of the crimes. The only thing he was found was incompetent to stand trial.
There you go. The man's not even a U.S. citizen. He tried to get rid of him, but because he had not been convicted of anything, he couldn't get the feds involved. There's something wrong with that. And an even bigger problem is the fact that while this man was in prison or in the jail for 5 months, nobody noticed any behavior which would lead to the incompetency ruling that he was given.
Regardless, he was not on a mental health plan while he was in my facility. He functioned in a general population jail housing facility and had one write-up in the 5 months he was in our jail for a very minor infraction. So to see how this guy gets released back out on the street in light of the severity of his charges, it's devastating to the law enforcement community. We don't want people like this being let go. It's not the way the criminal justice system should operate.
There it is. I keep talking about the real problem. The problem is not guns. It's not guns in the hands of law-abiding citizens. It's a justice system that continues to slap people on the wrist. Violent people, even those who are violent in the act of using a firearm, get slaps on the wrist and sent right back out in society. And this guy's another example of that. This man should have been deported. He should have been deported the first time. But no, somehow he squeezed through the system and goes out, and you saw the video. You saw the video. I'm telling people in Colorado, this guy's out in the streets. And I'm sorry. Forget a fight. This dude, if he gets put down, I just cannot shed a tear. This man is a menace to society, and they keep letting him back out on the streets. You can see the frustration in the sheriff. As a matter of fact, the sheriff is actually going to run for a political position, and he's telling the governor, and the governor's response, that violent people should not be let back out, but you made it possible. You made it possible. Well, sooner or later, once again, he's going to kill someone. And then everybody's going to say, well, why didn't you see this coming? Well, here's the problem. I keep talking about the real problem with our society is violence, period. Yet all the usual grifters will only attach themselves to incidents of violence that involves a firearm to then tell us how we need gun control. Gun control is not going to control this person. Well, let me back up. Yeah, gun control can probably stop this person, but I would feel sorry for the person who got caught up at the end of this, because more than likely they'll charge them with a crime and make this dude the victim. But this is just an example of the issue in the society and how it's being ignored by the powers that be, because in the end, it's about them and their agenda. But let me know what you think. As always, you can leave your comments in the comment section below. And as always, any statements of violence or statements that lead to violence will be removed. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you're notified the next time a video goes live. I'm going to see you on the next one. Peace.